right, welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody. Should we get the band fired up? We never really got the band fired up. Larry Krueger, Dan Coccimligio with you. Here we go. There we go. Nothing like the StreamYard band. Dug these guys up. Bobby, of course, I met in Tulsa at a little gig. Johnny on the sax, met him outside Birmingham. Give it up to Bobby Joe on the tambourine. What's up, Danny? Niners get a win, huh?
Yeah,
Niners get a win. 38-13, 10 in a row. 10 in a row.
And
38-13 Niners. And they finished the year 13-4. They were at 1.3-4 after losing to Kansas City. Kansas City, kind of embarrassed them. That was a shellacking. They came to Levi's and Kansas City put one on them, and that was late October 23rd, 44-23 Chiefs. And what did the Niners do after that? And that for the 49ers, that was their second loss in a row. They had lost the previous week to Atlanta. So how did they respond? They beat the Chargers going into the bye, or they beat the Rams, I should say, going into the bye. They beat the Chargers, and that was with Christian McCaffrey. They beat the Chargers coming out of the bye at home. They went to Mexico City, and I think this was kind of the first real break of the year. They got Colt McCoy, and they got basically a home crowd in a road game. For all intents and purposes, that was like having an extra home game in Mexico City, and 38-10 Niners. Then they shut out the Saints 13-0. They fell behind 7-0 to Miami and lost Garoppolo. Enter Brock Purdy to the rescue, and they wind up waxing Miami. 33-17 was the final. The next week was Tom Brady, and Purdy outdueled Brady 35-7. Then it was, could Brady do it on the road? And he did it in Seattle, 21-13. Then it's like, can Purdy do it, against a really top flight defensive line? And Washington rolled in and the Commanders rolled out. 17-point losers, 37-20. Then it was last week, could he come from behind? And he did, winning on the road in Vegas, putting up 37 in the process in overtime, 37-34. And then Danny today, 38-13. And I don't know how everybody else in the chat feels, but just from watching it, it felt like, Brock's not having that great of a day. And then when you look up, you're like, wait a second. He completed 75% of his passes, and he had 3 touchdowns and no picks. And his team won by 25, and they've won 10 in a row, and he's a rookie. And it's like,
no
wait
picks,
a second. And he got sacked 4 times. The O-line, J.J. Watt had 2 of those. Purdy, Cardinals sacked him 4 times, hit him 9 times.
But what was good about that, the sacks, he didn't try and, make a play. He just ate it. He didn't throw the ball up in the air, wobbling, and let it float for an interception. So he showed some poise there, just taking the sacks.
Rye, let's go to Rye, who had a chance to go in the locker room afterwards. What was the vibe in there, Rye? What was the feeling? Was it businesslike? Was it rejoicing? Was it, now take a deep breath, now we can play the playoffs? Describe the feeling in the room.
I'd say, the past couple weeks, it's been like super cheery, super celebratory. Guys are kind of messing around with each other. I think that the word you just used, business, it felt a little bit like, okay, I mean, we just won 9 of these things in a row or whatever. It's not, there's no need for celebration here. They knew they were facing an inferior team in the Cardinals, and, they were really just trying to work on stuff and just make sure to, take care of business. That said, we talked to Burford in the post game, and I felt a little bad. I was trying to find somebody I could, hook up on the mic, because we only had a few minutes left on the post. And we had Burford with the great Will Gavin on Friday. and he was so good. The interview was fantastic. He was, super detailed and friendly and eloquent and really thoughtful. And so I was like, you know what, Burford would probably do it again, just audio. He was kind of a little bummed out. I mean, which I like. He was really critical of himself, and I think he was kind of feeling a little down in the dumps because he had this. He told us before that he was super excited for this matchup with JJ Watt, and he's going to bet on himself. He's not like afraid. He thinks he'll get the better of the matchup, and I think JJ kind of took him to the cleaners. I don't know what's an expression with took it. But
he got
yeah,
the upper hand. JJ Watt is still a technician and he's still damn good. And he took the young kid to the cleaners to some degree, but it's a learning lesson. He's a technician. The thing about defensive line play, it's about strength and quickness and size and all those other things that, obviously matter in football, but it's such a technique rich position that guys who are long in the tooth have a huge advantage in the trenches over these guys who are in their first year. I mean, JJ Watt could write a thesis on line play where Spencer Burford's just now getting rolling on his career. So JJ played well today with 2 sacks. Interesting day, guys, from the standpoint of I don't know what you can take away from this game. Why? Because David Blau is no good. I mean, he was 14 of 18, 180 yards. They sacked him 3 times. They picked him off twice. He did throw the 1 touchdown early to AJ Green,
which Lenore was pushed off by Green. If you look at it closely.
Yeah, I haven't even gone back and looked at that again because
if you look at that thing, the replay, man, it's sudden, but it definitely he used his body his arms to push off, get the otherwise Lenore would have knocked it down. So right. I hope people don't jump on Lenore for that because.
Well, I hope people don't jump on me because I was having my omelet made for me on the press box level as that touchdown was coming down. So I didn't get the greatest look at it. But I mean, Corey Clement and Greg Dortch and Trace McSorley and Pharaoh Cooper and Keontae Ingram. I mean, this was a totally depleted Cardinals team. So it's hard to really put anything into this. But a win's a win in the NFL, and it was great to see Elijah. It was great to see Elijah Mitchell and Debo get their feet wet. I thought that was good, and it was. I thought they used McCaffrey. 13 touches for McCaffrey. I guess I would have liked to have seen it be about half that many or none at all. But they're intent on using McCaffrey, and the other one is Tashaun Gipson. I mean, Tashaun Gipson had 2 picks. The one difference between this year's team and last year's team that's significant is last year's team had Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart at safeties. This one's got Jimmy Ward playing the nickelback and Gibson and Hufanga as safeties. And the Niners lead the NFL in interceptions, and they are interceptions, on defense. And half of those are coming from their safeties. They've got 10 from their safeties. So it just kind of shows if you're going to have a big rush up front, kind of to emphasis to your defense, like the 49ers have had, it makes only the most sense in the world to have, instead of, I mean, if you want, you can get coverage guys, great. But if you got to get one or the other, give me some ball hawks who are going to pick the ball out of the air and come away with the interception. You know what I'm saying? Because, and that's what Gibson is, and that's what Hufanga is. And I think that's a huge, huge upgrade. Even though I like Tart and I like Jimmy Ward. Give me your guys' thoughts on the safety tandem, because I thought Gibson was huge today.
I think Gibson's been huge all year. It's just, he started off super hot, and it was sort of one of those situations where I was like, okay, well, how is this going to work? Huff hadn't quite established himself yet. Jimmy Ward's going to be coming back. How are they going to, figure this out? And Gibson's just, he's just claimed his spot, and he's just been playing that spot all year, and he's doing a really good job. And I love the fact that he takes the ball away. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like you roll out of the crib, and either you're a ball hawk or you're not. That Gibson's a total ball hawk. Larry, weren't you saying he has like 30 career interceptions?
I mean, that's a ton, man. That's a lot of picks.
That's a ton of picks, and they needed that. The most picks they've ever had in the Shanahan era, I think, is 12. So they just blew it away this year, and now they're with the turnover delay of game crew, with the turnover differential. I mean, they have the best margin, or what do you call it? Not plus minus. Point differential in the entire league.
I know. No, in the entire NFC.
No, whole league now.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, I thought.
Let me take a look here.
I thought Buffalo or Kansas City.
Let's take a look here. Point differential.
By the way, all the people in the chat who are like saying, come on. We may have had a little bit of a miscommunication in what time the show is going to start, because we had planned to start the show when I was still driving home. So
yeah.
Sorry. And then I had to watch, once I got inside, I had to watch the end of the Green Bay game. So now we know 49ers are going to take on Seattle. Well, I had Green Bay tonight in the teaser and lost. I will say this was good news for the Niners, I think, because you don't want Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. And even though the Niners have owned them, and I don't really at the end of the day fear Green Bay, but if you're saying who's got a better chance to come to Levi's and beat the 49ers, Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Fame quarterback with his 4-3 wide receiver rookie and some defensive players up front that are starting to come of age, like Devontae Wyatt, who had a big game tonight, the Georgia rookie. I'd rather take on Seattle. I've seen Seattle. I know Seattle. They've had a nice year. They're going to have a high pick in the draft. The Niners are going to beat them. So I'm less concerned about Seattle than I am about Green Bay. Are you guys with me on that? Or are you guys kind of maybe more concerned about Green Bay? More concerned
I tend to agree with you there. I think so. I agree. I think it's better to probably face Seattle. I mean, both teams are familiar with each other, but Kyle's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot more weapons. Debo's back now. He didn't play in that clinching game. So in Seattle, so Niners will be ready to go. And by the way, they do play Saturday at 1:30. Some in the chat said 1 o'clock. It's actually
I didn't know that.
1:30 start Saturday. So in a way, I was kind of hoping it would be Sunday, but in a way it's nice because if they win this, they get an extra day of rest.
I like this better than the Monday. This could have been Monday with a short week.
Monday's not a good. You don't want to play your first. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a short week in the playoffs. Rye, keep that stat up there. This is interesting, guys. So the Niners are plus 173. And it looks like Buffalo's second. Ooh, now we're doing an eye test. A second ago I had it.
Sorry. I was just going to zoom in for you a little bit more.
Oh, Buffalo is 168.
69.
And then Eagles are 133.
Chiefs
127. And Dallas is 125.
Look at that other column, though, on the right. The hot teams. 49ers, 10 in a row. Buffalo, 7 in a row. Cincinnati, 8 in a row.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you guys. What do you think if you could have one stat or one trend or one whatever in your favor? What would you want? What do you believe in? Do you believe in record? Is it simply about number one seed, you get the bye? You're the best. Or would you rather be the team? Would you rather have the team with the best? Is point differential truly the measure of a great team? Is it? I've heard people in the scouting community tell me that it's offensive line win rate. So I don't know who's leading an offensive line win rate this year, right? If you can look that up. But, I've had multiple scouts yell at me and say, it's offensive line win rate. Everything starts with the offensive line. But point differential, I think, is probably more important than record. I mean,
Well, yeah.
the
Look
whole
at
point-
definitely.
Look at Minnesota's record. Go scroll that down, Ryan. See what Minnesota's probably minus.
Yeah, they are. I think they're like -3 or something.
Yeah,
It's
they
Minnesota -3. There we go.
Yeah, they go. They went 12 and 13 and 4 and had a minus. That tells you they won a lot of close games.
I mean, seriously, there is variance a little bit at like, in this upper echelon, but I think you got to think of it as kind of a tiering. And if you think of it just that way, like it doesn't mean the Niners are 100% the best team. But if you think about the best teams in the league, I think it is this top four. I think it's Niners, Eagles, Bills, and Chiefs, and then Cowboys, Bengals. I would kick out the Cowboys and put the Bengals up there. Jaguars are surging. Ravens are in the playoffs. The Lions. So I did want to say my piece a little bit about the Lions. I feel really bad for them because you know what? Seattle totally laid an egg and they got completely bailed out in that Rams game. And it just didn't feel. I want to see a team. I want to see a team take it. They just kind of got bailed out, and then Detroit screwed. And then Detroit says, "You know what? I don't care. I'm the fighting Dan Campbell's. We're gonna be doing trick plays. We're gonna be the tougher team in Lambeau, and we're gonna finally vanquish Aaron Rodgers, send him out of the playoffs. It's just a very symbolic win for them." And I just wish that the Rams had won the game like it was looking like they were going to, because then Detroit would be in the playoffs, and Detroit deserves it.
I'm happy for Goff, by the way, because Goff's a good guy,
absolutely.
and
Very good guy.
And he got a bad deal with the Rams, and it's like McVay just didn't want to. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl with Goff. I mean, have a little bit of respect that Goff is decent, but McVay grew impatient. He went for Stafford, and I guess McVay was vindicated because they won the Super Bowl. But I'm a Jared Goff guy, and I'm glad that he went to Detroit. And I think in some ways Dan Campbell needs Jared Goff, and Jared Goff needs Dan Campbell. I mean, Dan Campbell in that toughness and that I ain't taking no crap attitude is something that I think laid back Marin County Jared Goff needs. And Jared Goff, has got a big arm, and this Dan Campbell you think of as like kind of 3 yards cloud of dust. They need a guy who can make some plays on the outside with the investments they've made. And man, this team's on the come. I mean, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Jameson Williams. That thing got called back, but Jameson Williams went up top in this game for just one of the great highlights. Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds. And then 2 tackles now, they got Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, both number 1 picks. Ragnow's a really, really good center. So, I mean, their offensive lines with the makings of a really good group. And it's not a bad group of running backs. Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jackson. There's some players there. And then defensively, Aiden Hutchinson is their Bosa, Josh Pascal is a very good young defensive end. He'll get better with this team. They need to plug in a few more parts. That Rodrigo weak side backer.
You muted. You're muted, Larry.
Larry, you're muted.
Larry, listen up. You're muted, you lazy fool. Come on. Larry,
did you just go Mr. T on that? I don't pity the fool.
Larry, no one can hear you.
Oh, can he not hear us too? When he's muted? Oh, okay, cool.
I was just going to say Detroit's on the come. Detroit's really
there
good.
For a while.
Detroit is a team that, like, if they have one more big draft, it'll be like, watch out for Detroit.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy makes the 93117 makes a good point here. If the Giants upset Minnesota, the Niners would get the winner of the Dallas-Tampa Bay game, and they play Monday night, so they would be on 2 days. Niners would have 2 more days of rest. That would be really good. And I do think somebody put a parlay together for me up here and said that take this parlay, and it had Minnesota. I'm trying to see if I can find it. But anyway, I do think Minnesota may lose, go down, because the Giants are probably going into this game more rested with their key guys, and the Giants, they kept the
covered
game
today, by
close.
the way.
Yeah, they kept the game close with Philly. So
Yeah, Dan, they totally tried, dude.
They covered, Danny.
tried.
Hey, what's the best path? If you want the Niners to go to the bowl, what is the best path? They get Seattle in the first round. I think that's an unbelievable break, because you could have had this young Detroit team that doesn't have a care in the world and has some really good players. And then you could have had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Instead, you get Geno Smith, who's, his probably got one more week as the starting quarterback before they draft CJ Stroud or something. I mean, Geno's, I don't know. I see Seattle as kind of limping towards the finish line clearly. After Seattle, what's the best angle? Who do you want? You want Dallas? You want Tampa? You want Minnesota?
Either one. I think the path is probably the toughest game I could see them having to play, just because the athleticism of the Dallas defense would be Dallas, and the fact that, you get into a game, anything can happen, turnovers, that type of thing. I think all three of them, whether it be Dallas, Tampa, or Minnesota at home, they're all beatable. My hope is that Philly gets knocked off, whether it be they face the Giants or Tampa or Dallas, and that there's somehow an upset there in Philly. I read that Jason Hurts said he played today and he was hurting.
Jalen.
He said he was in a lot of pain out there. So the fact that thing isn't 100%, come playoff time, you could take another hit. Guys are intense, and
Yeah.
So I think the Niners have a shot at playing 3 games at home.
I like Dallas in that second round. Of all those teams, I'd say bring on Dallas. I think the Niners can run it on Dallas. I think it's a great matchup for the 49ers. And then, sadly, I mean, I was hoping to have it be a situation where the Niners had to play Dallas or Philly, but not both. But it looks like they probably will have to play both. I don't know. Because I agree with Danny. I think the Giants have a great chance to upset Minnesota. So if that happens, then the Giants become the team that plays the Eagles, and the Niners get the Cowboy Tampa winner. I guess Tampa could beat Dallas in Tampa. I mean, Tom Brady definitely could win a playoff game, and that's not hard to envision. But I kind of see Dallas maybe doing that on the road. But I would like to see Niners Cowboys, and then, you know what, a trip to Philly. I don't see anybody beating Philly except for the Niners in the conference. Do you guys? I mean, I love to think that the Giants could do it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because they just played and the Giants sat everybody and just got walloped that it just feels like the Giants can't do it. Maybe the Giants with their best foot forward could stand up to Philly. They won 9 games this year.
I mean, they made it a game at the end. It was
Well, yeah. I mean, I just think Philly's vulnerable. I don't. I think they're, with Hurts not 100% and struggling down the stretch, they're kind of limping going into the playoffs.
Well, I do think that it was a little bit like, I think I maybe said this when we were talking about the predictions for this game. Hurts wasn't, they didn't fully use Hurts to his full ability. They didn't run him at all. He was just a pocket passer. And, the thing that freaks me out is like AJ Brown is such a freak. He is a freak. I feel like every game with Hurts
is too.
Devontae is too. And it's I feel like Devontae has like really kind of been coming up these past couple, but like AJ Brown, I feel like, he's almost like Debo, but not quite as good with the ball in his hands, but he's like a better downfield receiver. So it's kind of freaky. He can, like, Jalen Hurts can just throw the ball up 50 yards, and I feel like he's always going to make a play.
The thing with the Eagles that's questionable is the health. That's all. It's like, how healthy is Jalen Hurts? How healthy is Lane Johnson? How healthy is Josh Sweat? How healthy is the tackle? Not the tackle, but
Lane Johnson.
Well, I already mentioned Lane Johnson, but they have somebody else who's dinged up as well, I think. CJ Gardner Johnson. He's got the
Oh,
lacerated kidney.
he
And
played today.
Robert Quinn's got a bum knee, and
Mhm.
he sat out a lot of time towards the end of the year. So my question with the Eagles is just, how healthy are they? How healthy is Hurts? But I love their roster. I just don't think that there's a team in the NFC besides the Niners that can
I'll tell you
beat
one thing, though,
Philadelphia.
that 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, they're not talking about Philly right now. They're going to focus on Seattle. It's not going to be
Yeah,
just a
I'm
lay
actually
down.
I'm a little worried.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a lay down game when you face it's a division opponent. They're going to come in. They're going to want to, Pete Carroll may have some type of game plan up his sleeve. You don't put it past him. I think the Niners would be crazy to be overlooking Seattle.
Well, they're not. I mean, I am,
Yeah,
but they're not.
yeah.
They're absolutely going to take Seattle seriously. I just think that when you look at Seattle and the year they've had, I mean, this year's been successful. People thought they were going to win 4 or 5 games and had no chance. Instead, they discovered Geno, had this awesome rookie class, and or made it to the playoffs. I mean, this is a Pete Carroll, John Schneider. They're going to put this on their resume as like that great year.
Plus, they get the 3rd pick in the draft. The Chicago
Exactly.
Bears will end up with the number 1 pick. Houston won 32-31. Didn't get the first pick, and now they'll finish with the 2nd pick. And Lovie Smith was fired earlier tonight, so he's the first coach to go in the coaching carousel.
And he went for 2 late in this game, didn't he?
yeah,
they did.
that felt like an FU to the ownership.
Yeah, seriously. Like, we don't want that number 1 pick. As far as Seattle goes, there's a couple guys on their team that are just real difference makers. The guy they got who plays right outside backer from the Chargers, Yushena Nwosu, who wears number 10. That guy is just awesome. I mean, he is really a tremendous football player. And that's a guy they're going to have to get blocked next week for sure on the defensive side, or at least the Niner offensive line is going to have to deal with Nwosu. He's just a total playmaker. And then love him, hate him, say what you want about him, but I mean, DK Metcalf is just a monster. I mean, he's just a big, strong, fast, physical.
We're going to see some fights, I think.
Yeah,
between Ward and DK.
Ward and Metcalf again. Hey, how about that game tonight with the Packers defensive back getting tossed for pushing one of the trainers on the Detroit Lions? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, I haven't seen that
especially in a week like this.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have
what happened
and Monday night with the trainers, I mean, you just, golly. I mean, that guy, they showed him in the tunnel running. He was like crying, shaking his head, talking to himself, like probably telling himself, "What are you doing, you idiot?" Just didn't think and reacted. And you could see coach of Packers yelling, think, but
what a disappointing year for the Packers. 8-9, only 5-4 at Lambeau. Very disappointing year for them.
Interesting. And it actually was kind of a moment after the game. I feel like I got myself just kind of like watching what the announcers were saying, but somebody on the Lions, can't remember who it was, but they came up and asked for, it was Jameson Williams came up and asked for Rodgers jersey. And he said, I think I'm going to keep this one because it might be his last game in Lambeau.
And the way he was walking around, it made you think, because he was looking up at the taking it in, looking at all the fans in Lambeau over, looking upward into the stands. And then he walked into the tunnel with his arm around Randall Cobb, and the two kind of walked off. And it was, you don't know what they're saying or what they're thinking, but
what are you guys thinking? Are you thinking he's going to retire?
No, I think he'll do a victory lap somewhere else.
I mean, there's some teams that could use him for a year or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's a bunch of head coaches and prospective head coaches that I'm sure would love to see him come into their team
How about if he follows Favre and goes to the Jets?
What if he
I
follows
mean,
What if he follows
might.
Harbaugh and goes somewhere?
I mean, think about it. The Jets are an option because he likes this LaFleur system. LaFleur's brother is the offensive coordinator.
I mean, that's where Favre went when he left the Packers. He went to the Jets.
Well, it'd also be kind of dunking on Favre because, like, if he actually won and
what if we go through this entire off season ahead and Jimmy G still doesn't have a home?
Oh God!
Because every time he goes somewhere, here comes Rodgers or Brady or somewhere else. We've got this one from. We had one on here about.
I think Jaguar has.
Is it a super?
No, it was a question about Ty Davis Price.
Getting into the matchup a little, though, I think Anonymous is right. I think that Pete Carroll will attempt several trick plays. That's the thing that worries me is Pete Carroll's smart enough to play a super high variance game. And that's like, you roll the dice enough, you could beat the Niners.
Jaguar gives Jaguar 56, $2. He says, mad props to Jordan Willis. He's coming on strong on the D-line. All right. I did an interview earlier this week with George Odom. And I'm like, George, give me the guy in this room. I go, there's a ton of talent in here, man. Who's the guy that makes you on this team go, wow? Who's the guy that you like to watch when you're on the sideline? And he's like, it's not going to be who you think it is. He goes, you guys won't be able to guess. I'm like, okay, go ahead. And he's like, Jordan Willis. He's like, man, I saw him this summer and he just threw a guy down and, threw another guy down. I was like, wow. He's like, monster, just a monster. He starts touting Jordan Willis. So yeah, Jordan Willis. That was the two guys that were really, really underrated and good pickups. And this team's not the same without them. Jordan Willis and Charles Omenihu. Two big defensive linemen who weren't on this team. And John Lynch said, we invest a lot of picks in the D-line, but let's even trade another day 3 pick for Jordan Willis. We'll trade another day 3 pick for Charles Omenihu. Omenihu's gone from 275 down to 260 in that range, and he's just lightning fast. And then Willis, who, played at K-State at like 6'4", 270, ran 4.53 in the combine coming out. He plays fast. I mean, he's got a tremendous motor. He's a real quiet guy. You never even know he's in the room, but he is a scary football player. And those two guys have added so much to their rotation. I mean, you think of the Niners, you think of Armstead and Bosa and Ebukam and Drake, but it's guys like Omenihu and Givens and, guys like that, Jordan Willis, that are why this 49er D-line is just unstoppable. Someone said, did you guys see Jamal Williams' name introduction tonight on Sunday Night Football? No. We were there, so I didn't see it.
I love Jamal. I love Jamal Williams. That guy's
we were at the game driving back, so we didn't see the beginning of intros. What happened? Danny, did you see it?
I didn't see that. No, I don't know what happened.
Maybe he didn't say Utah. A lot of times guys will shout out their like high school or.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is famous for saying Butte or
because you know why? I believe Aaron Rodgers is pissed at Cal for dumping Tedford. Because he used to say Cal.
Yeah.
And then when they dumped Tedford, it was like, no. Tedford's my boy. I'm going Butte College from now on. I don't know that's indeed, what it is, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Hey,
why wouldn't he say Cal?
I have a
one
quick
of the great universities.
One of the great. Dan knows it. I have a quick idea. What about, because I don't even remember this. It seems so long ago, but what about playing Tashaun Gipson's interview that we did early in September? Because I feel like he had some juicy nuggets about like them trying to take the ball away and all this stuff. And maybe he was a little Nostradamus-y.
Sure. We can do that.
Is that, you guys down with that? I think it's just like
while you're looking at that, we've got
real short
super chat here.
Yeah, hit the super chats and then I'll
glass half full guy $4.99. Do you think the 49ers activate Kalia Davis for the playoffs? This team is so much more dynamic than the 2019 team, in my humble opinion. I would say that if they were going to do the Kalia Davis thing, that it was going to be today, to take a peek at him, to see what he had. I don't know that you try a rookie, even though he's a talented rookie with a crazy motor, unless you have an injury. I don't know that you make his first game a playoff game. But I'll say this: he's a crazy fast pass rusher, and if they want to add pass rush, there's worse moves they can make. That's for sure. Sal GZ says, "Here's $2. Any concerns going into this weekend's game, Larry?" My concern is just turnovers. Turnovers are the equalizer in the NFL. You just don't have that many opportunities. But you know what? I don't really concern myself that much with turnovers because I feel like Brock is so competitive and
Isn't
is
that
so
an
good.
oxymoron? Kind of you said
What's
your
that?
concern is turnovers, and then you said, but I really don't concern myself.
I mean,
with
I'm my concern always, like with just a universal concern in the playoffs, would be turnovers, because turnovers are the equalizer. But like, I've got to program myself. That was a Jimmy thought. You know what I mean?
I see.
That
Yeah.
and Jimmy was, had a propensity for the big turnover. And then it was a matter of like, where will it come? Can they overcome it? What will the score of the game be at that point? How much time will be left? Brock takes care of the ball. So
My concern on turnovers is more being a wet field, possible rain. There's about an 80% chance of rain Saturday. It looks like it's going to rain all week. It's like kickoffs. I remember the Dallas 94 game. Remember the NFC Championship? Niners were up
that field
21-0.
was in bad shape.
Yeah, Niners were up 21-0 before the people got seated. It was just like, whoa. Dallas had like turnover after turnover, and But I mean, this field drains a lot better than Candlestick. They cover the field. This field today looked like better than the Cardinals field, which is a dome, and they and that field is notorious for people slipping. I don't know. We had some rain down here in the last game the Cardinals had here. People were slipping, but they keep the field outside, roll it in. So I think the Niners, don't they cover it quite a bit during the week?
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. And it trains really, really well. I mean, they have not had problems with that surface this year. I would say this. It's amazing that I'm saying this because it's the number one defense. But to me, the offense has fixed a lot of its issues. And I don't worry about the offensive line quite as much as I did early in the year. So I guess if you said, what's my primary concern? It's the backs. It's, without Mosley, the secondary and the coverage ability. If there's some downs where they don't get to the quarterback, or if they send 5 and the guy slips, Hufanga slips off the blitz block, and suddenly the quarterback steps up and it's man-to-man coverage against Lenore. I mean, I'm a little concerned about their ability to cover down the field without a big, consistent pass rush up front.
Yeah, reasonable.
That's my main concern.
Reasonable. It may not even come to fruition until the more high leverage games. All right, yeah, you want to play this? I'll play this interview real quick. I'm interested.
Let's hear it. It's just a few minutes.
Yeah, I think it's 4 minutes. We'll try and keep everybody else from gaming.
We're here in the Niner locker room with Niner safety Tashaun Gipson, and one of the more productive interceptors in the league is you. What's the key to picking off passes in the NFL? Is it as simple as one thing?
It's just about being in the right place, right time, honestly. I credit, great players around me, man. Obviously, Huff, he told me that he didn't feel like catching it. He didn't want to be a ball hog, so he said he'd show me some love. But no, obviously, man, it's just about running to the ball, man, and just being in the right place, right time, obviously. And, I've made my bones doing that, man. And sometimes you got to make those hard interceptions, but sometimes you got to catch the ones that's given to you. And that was one that was given to me, man, and got to take advantage of those.
Where does that skill come from, though? Because some guys have it, some guys don't. I mean, you look at the back of the football card. I think that's 28 career picks for you. So, who, where did you learn that trait? How did you develop that skill?
Just always being ball aware. Growing up, man, I never played defense. I always had the ball in my hand. I played quarterback, man, majority of my life, up until I got to college. So for the most part, man, just being ball aware, man. And, the motto, man, when I was a young guy, man, my high school coach used to always say, man, all balls is our ball. And, it's just a motto that has stuck with me, man. So if it's a 50-50 ball or if it's a ball around, hey, man, we need to come down with those. And he stressed that and he preached that. And, that's just kind of the motto that I stuck with for throughout the duration of high school, college, and then led into the NFL. But most important, man, it's just God just giving me the ability, man, put me in situations to be able to thrive. And fortunately, I had another opportunity Sunday to put it on display. Came down with it.
Yeah, you're humble, man. Let's talk about Hufanga. What do you think? I mean, he's shown incredible instincts against the run.
Oh, man, he's playing, in my opinion, like the best safety in the National Football League right now. Through 2 weeks, I don't think that you'll find a more productive safety that's playing like Huff right now, man. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch him back here, man. Obviously I've been here a short time, man, but his skill set, man, is just perfect for this defense. I hope he keep going, man, and, get all of the accolades and the notoriety he deserves, man, because he's balling right now.
Yeah, what is it, though? I mean, is it film study? Is it knowledge? Is it because he's playing fast and he's anticipating things, and it's just like he's not hesitating and he's just going.
His locker right over there, man. I wish I was in his head to tell you what's going on, man. But he just instinctive. He's just a playmaker, man. And obviously, he having a full season under his belt. He now is comfortable. Like I said, I wasn't here last year, so I couldn't say what he looked like last year or the progression. But what I see now, man, is just a true ball player, just a football player, man. That's fine. And so you put him anywhere on the field, man, he can make plays. So right now, man, he is starting to be more and more comfortable. Obviously, each game, man, you're starting to see more and more explosive plays from him. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch, man. He's so young, man. He's still only 22. So he got so much ahead of him, man. It's just about keeping him grounded, man, and letting him achieve the things he planned on achieving.
You're a vet. You've seen a lot of different secondaries. This secondary looks like it's got potential to be really good. What do you think of it so far? You just walked in the door.
I mean, this is obviously the defense in its entirety is full of dogs, man. But obviously, the secondary, man, is have a bunch of good players who don't get that notoriety, man. I think that E-Man is, he a technician, man. He's one of the smarter football players that I've been around. You have Huff, man, who's just young, vibrant, have that energy, man. You got Mooney, man, over there he's going to do his job, man, and Mooney going to make plays. So when you have just a bunch of guys that's on one accord doing what they need to do, the play's going to come, and obviously it's been showing, man. It's been fun to be out there playing with those guys, man. I'm blessed for this opportunity.
How's your relationship with Jimmy Ward right now? I know he's not playing, but, man,
Right.
we talked to him last week, and he was like, my safeties aren't going to get like, he's like, man,
Man, Jimmy is my guy, man. Like, I've been knowing Jimmy for quite some time, man. So, me and Jimmy done bounce ideas off each other, even when I was playing in Chicago. So, we got the same agent. So, obviously, man, I've been knowing Jimmy for a minute, man. Good dude, man. Obviously, one of the best safeties in the league. So, even now he be at practice on the sideline in games, and we just pitching stuff off of each other. And he humble, man. He's not just a guy who feel like he know everything, man. He bounced questions off of me as well. So, that's the beautiful part about having a guy like Jimmy, man, and obviously we know what he could do when he on the field and he healthy. So, it's just fun, man, being here in this defense for sure.
A couple of last ones for you. Film study. What does Denver look like on film? They got the big tight end Alberto. He's fast. Judy's kind of dinged up. They got Cortland Sutton. What's their receiving core look like to you?
Obviously they got playmakers, and they got Russell Wilson, their quarterback, man. He's at the helm, so that's always, anytime you got the quarterback, that's 90% of the battle right there. He's a top-tier quarterback. Obviously, he's still in his prime. And, they got skilled guys on the outside who can just make plays. Honestly, I like their running back, man. I think that the offense, I really like his game. He's a good football player, old-school football player, man. I respect those type of guys. But their skill sets on the outside, man, they got good guys who can make plays. 14, he's definitely a playmaker, man. And obviously, you see he went for over 100 yards. So we're going to have our hands full. But obviously, man, I'm confident in the guys that we have on the back end to be able to go out there and execute the job.
Yeah, last one I got for you. National TV. Is that just a fan thing? Is that a media thing, or do you care if it's national TV, or is that like no, doesn't matter? Say another game.
Every game at noon, if you ask me. I done played enough football now, man, where I'd rather just wake up, man, get rolling, man. So obviously, it's you have guys who live for those type of things, and it's always fun playing on national TV, primetime games. That's what we live for, man. As kids, we grew up watching primetime games. So obviously, guys like those, man. But me, myself, man, I'd rather play at 1 o'clock, just get the thing rolling, man, and let's go. So, but it'll be an awesome opportunity for us, man, and this team, man, on the big stage, man. Show what we got.
Hey, good luck on Sunday.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so
Tashaun
much.
Gipson.
Tashaun Gipson right there. A couple super chats. Seabass Johnson, $2 for his BP prediction. This dude is the real deal. Well, thank you, man. That's all it took. That's all it took. We got a couple.
Also, I just wanted to say, somebody was saying that they were having trouble with the audio. If there's any audio or video stuff, this is from September. So like I was still figuring all this stuff out. We were trying all sorts of new equipment. And so, yeah, but all the new stuff's good.
Matty Dizzle. I like that handle. Matty Dizzle. Here's $1.99. 25 carries. What's your ideal split between CMC, Eli, and Jordan Mason? Okay, that's a great question. In the playoffs. Now we're talking about playoff games. I would like, it's more about like, I would use CMC as a receiver. I would use Eli Mitchell as a runner between the tackles, and I'd use Jordan Mason on short yardage situations, or I'd use Eli in short yardage situations. I would use CMC much more as a receiver now that I have Jordan Mason and Eli ready to roll in the playoffs, and maybe even TDP. I don't know, how they view Ty Davis Price, but I thought he looked good at times today. He's still probably behind those other guys, but they got options. But I would definitely spread it around. I think it's probably, if you made me guess, I would say it's going to be a first half usage of. I think Shanahan's kind of shown us what he likes. He likes McCaffrey in the first half, and he likes to put the ball game away with Elijah in the second half. And it's a great game plan. Why? Because McCaffrey can do everything, and he's so dynamic in the first half. And then Elijah Mitchell is just, if it's blocked for 2, he gets 3. And if it's blocked for 3, he gets 4. I mean, he's a total grinder. So even though he's not the big back, in some ways he's got big back tendencies. He is a grinder. Anonymous says, Larry, stop chewing gum when you interview.
It's from it's from September.
It's from September.
I kind of like the breakdown. If you're looking at 25 carries, I would say something like 13, 9, and 3. 13 to McCaffrey, 9 to Mitchell, 3 to Mason, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. But to me, it's more about situational. I think, if you do have a lead and you're getting into the fourth quarter and you can put the game on ice, I want to see Elijah Mitchell, because his ability to, get into a rhythm and pick and slide. I mean, when he's running, there's an unstoppable feeling to it. Like, you're not going to be able to stop this guy. It just feels like they're rolling downhill when he's running well. So
I thought the game was managed really well today in that Kyle got all the key guys out of the game kind of mid-third quarter when they kind of put it away.
Not Purdy until the fourth, I think.
Well, yeah, I guess it was toward maybe it was late third whenever they went up 3 or 4 scores. It was like, okay, you saw Bosa's out of there, Ayuk's out of there, Debo's out of there, McCaffrey's out of there, Kittle's out of there, on the Warner's out of there. Get all those guys completely out of there. And I thought that was really good that the Niners were able to kind of put the game away so they didn't have to play those guys hard. It's kind of like when the Warriors got another game and they blow them out, and Steph and they're up by 30 and those guys only play maybe 20 minutes or something like that. It makes a difference. I think just having those guys a little bit fresher going into Saturday's game is going to pay a lot of dividends for them.
G. Martinez says the play calling has so much potential with all these weapons. I mean, there's no doubt. That's the one thing about the 49ers. I mean, look at this group of weapons. You've got Purdy throwing strikes, and they're taking shots down the field. And today, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different people had rushing attempts. So they really had a diversified rushing attack. Ayuk is a I think a burgeoning number one receiver. McCaffrey's a really difficult guy to cover out of the backfield. Kittle has been reborn. I mean, he won't say it because he's so tight with Garoppolo, but I mean, Kittle is just awesome now with Brock Purdy. I mean, Kittle is Kelsey. He's actually producing, and the receiving numbers and the touchdowns, and
11
just
TDs as a tight ends.
He's incredible. He's absolutely been incredible. And then Juwan's got a huge catch radius. Debo's your Swiss Army knife gadget guy who can do it all. Ray McLeod, if you block it for him, can get to the edge and take it to the house. I'd like to see them use Ray and Danny Gray just in some way because they have such great speed. But 49ers are a really good football team. They invested in their special teams. They brought in George Odom. They've got great specialists. They brought in Oren Burks. They brought in Ray, and they've gotten improved special teams. And then they've got a very deep defensive line, probably the best linebacking core in the game. And they're good enough on the back end. The O-line has been good enough. Brock's been a revelation. He's got a ton of weapons. I don't know about you, but when he drops back to pass, I'm thinking good things. Why? Because he seems like he takes care of the football. He sees the field. He's patient. I heard an interview driving down to the game today with Brock that he had done with local radio station, and just him talking about himself. It's like off the field, he's this man of faith, and he's very grounded and very humble but he's also got this incredible steely, fire and competitiveness. And it's a great combination. And the players, I mean, just from standing in that locker room and talking to each one of these guys, they believe in this guy. They absolutely believe in Brock Purdy. And the Niners, I don't know how it's going to go, but I think everybody on this live stream knows the same thing. The 49ers with Brock Purdy are going to be one tough out. They're not just going to that's it. It's going to take a sequence of factors. A bunch of things are going to have to happen to get this team out of there. They're too good, and they haven't really fired like they can, because of injuries and not having everybody up at the same time. In the playoffs, I expect they will fire a couple efforts that's like everything they got, and it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know how you guys feel, but I just feel like it's a collision course with Buffalo or Kansas City. I just think that there's no way around it.
Maybe Bengals, but yeah, I'm with you. And Kyle has to, as much as like people loved to bring up all of the 500 stuff with his record in the regular season, he's proven to be a very, very good coach in the playoffs. Hell, you can even say like that Falcons year. Yes. Okay. Let's, put the blame on him in the second, but I mean, he had him up in the game versus Tom Brady and the Patriots, and they won. They got to the Super Bowl. Like that is like the hardest thing to do is just getting there. And with the Niners so far, he pretty much like as a fan, I didn't even sweat in 2019 until the Super Bowl. Really, I didn't even sweat until halfway through the Super Bowl when things started to go awry. Like they just beat the hell out of everyone. And then again, last year was a little bit more of a heroic effort, but I mean, they came out, buzzsawed the Cowboys. Then Jimmy got hurt. They kind of let him back in. Then they had that kind of harrowing game in Green Bay. And then they should have, they were up 10 on the Rams. So they've yet to be blown out. They're always going to be attached in any of these playoff games versus anybody. I don't care if it's the Chiefs, Bills, whoever. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super, super excited.
2.0 says, here's $4.99. Should we give Greenlaw and Banks another week since it's Seattle? Also, should only keep Trey if he takes a huge pay cut, way too much money for a raw backup. I guess he's talking about 2023. If Greenlaw's ready to roll, why not? But look what you had today. You plugged in Aziz, and Aziz played like a Pro Bowler. He had 10 tackles. He was terrific. So, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't matter because I think Greenlaw's a little bit better, but absolutely. If Greenlaw's not 100%, rest him. If you feel like Banks, would be compromised going forward, maybe you rest Banks. I mean, you got Brunskill. You got a little bit of depth there. It just means that Burford's got to play the entire game at right guard, and but I mean, I'll say this too. It was good to see the McKivitzes of the world get some reps in the second half today because they may have to go in the playoffs. So it's always good that, those guys got a few reps. So I think overall they got good depth on that O-line. Now, if they lose multiple guys or lose Trent, that's a different deal. But Trent's healthy, knock on wood. And, I asked Banks how the knee was doing, and he said that it was getting better. So he was moving better later in the week than he was earlier in the week.
I forgot anything. Before I forget, also, I have a good tidbit on Brock. I told Larry in the press box. So I watched the first half of the game. I had buddies that texted me and were like, "Oh, dude, last minute we got tickets and we're going to be watching the game in the United Club, I believe it's called."
Right.
And so I went down there and I was like, just hanging out with the boys and because my work is pretty much just watching the game until towards the fourth quarter. So I watched the first half with them, and one of the guys actually, he played quarterback in the league for a second. He was like the fourth string quarterback behind Kyler like 3 years ago, and he was telling me that he was talking. This was before even like all of the Brock Purdy craziness. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. It must have been 2 years ago. Hakeem Butler, the wide receiver from Iowa State. I guess they were talking, and they're just chopping it up about college, and he brought up like, oh, what's it like to play with Brock? Like, he seems like kind of a interesting quarterback, and he said, dude, like this has to be what it felt like to play with Tim Tebow. This guy is only about ball. He's only about ball, competing, family, God. That's it. And that's like exactly what he is now. I feel like, I mean, that's kind of like the perfect thing. I would love to have Tim Tebow's intangibles. I don't think he's quite as weird as Tebow, but yeah, I mean, good review.
It's funny. In doing all this prep for doing, multiple pregame shows, I think I read every freaking possible nugget that comes across on the 49ers throughout the week. The one that caught my eye this week was the 10-yard splits. Brock Purdy's, we talked about this. Brock Purdy has a very fast 10-yard split. 10-yard split is just the first 10 yards in a 40-yard dash. That's it. And it really measures your initial burst and quickness. And it's a stat that scouts love to look at for running backs because you can't be the slow build in the hole guy. You got to hit it, and you got to hit it now. So, you got to hit that hole and go. So running backs, you're always looking for a fast 10-yard split. All right. Brock Purdy's was 1.55. Josh Allen was 1.60. Patrick Mahomes was 1.65. So he's got better 10-yard split than Mahomes and Allen. And now you're looking at him and you're going, wait a second. Those guys make plays from the pocket, but they have this quickness to get away, and they can extend plays and improvise, and their improv skills are incredible, and that's where they really make their money. Well, then you watch Brock and you're like, you know what? He's the exact same as them. He makes plays from the pocket. He can operate, the game plan, whatever's called. But then he's got a mobility and the quickness to get outside. So 1.55 for Purdy, 1.60 for Allen, 1.65 for Mahomes. Guess what Christian McCaffrey's 10-yard split is? Danny? Or do you know?
Well, I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 1.54.
Yeah, you would think he's probably a little bit faster than Brock, right?
Yeah.
No, they have the exact same 10-yard split. Christian
155.
McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. Saquon Barkley, 154, just slightly faster. Tyreek Hill, who might be one of the fastest guys in the entire league, 1.50. So I'm just saying that right there is your explosiveness. And the Niners, they drafted Trey Lance. Why? Because Jimmy was hurt, but really because they saw that there was a dynamic nature to Mahomes and to Josh Allen, and they're like, give me some of that. I want a pocket passer that can also have that dynamic off schedule, extend plays, win in the red zone. And now they have that player in Brock Purdy. I mean, he literally is that player. And it's amazing to watch because every week we watch it, it's another week we're all convinced that, it's not accidental at all. Jaguayo 56 says, here's $2. Are you surprised by Kittle's resurgence? I'm not, just because if you look at Brock's history going back to Iowa State, he loves to throw to the tight end. His numbers throwing to Charlie Kohler in Ames were off the charts. Jet Black Threat says, here's $2. CMC will turn his game up to another level come playoff time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and on the Kittle front, I still think that it is a little bit of the keeping the Ferrari in the garage for the first, 60% of the season, and they've now that they're ramping him up for the playoff push. But I do think that Brock throws a beautiful, he loves to throw the seam, that he loves all of that kind of stuff that Kittle loves. And McCaffrey, man, this is his first time in the playoffs, no? Or maybe he's made it one other
Second,
time.
I think he made it.
Yeah,
once.
but it was like a nothing year. It was like when the crappy South. So I just think that he's gonna be on one.
Look at the pass that Purdy threw to Kittle today.
Unbelievable throw and catch.
Time.
I mean, the Kittle to come down with that and get his feet in was unbelievable. It's just like I don't even know if Kelsey would have got the ball because his height, but I don't know if he would have got his feet down because Kittle, that was a tap dance.
I mean, a healthy Kittle's better than Kelsey. I've always felt that way.
Well, we're really seeing it. If you can put the ball on George's hands like Brock can, George can make plays all day. Senior softball games, $2. Larry, you need to get softy balls on the show this week. That's Softy Mahler. And I actually invited Softy Mahler tonight on the live stream. And he sent me a thing. He said, I can do any night this week, but I can't do tonight.
So I said, no
dinner. Problem. So we'll get Softy on tomorrow and we'll start ridiculing him and ripping him and criticizing his Star Wars action figures and that kind of thing. Maybe we'll even get a guided tour of his his man cave, which is really dorky. I mean, he's got forget action figures. He's got like their own. He's got like a setup. They're like equidistant apart. You know what I mean?
It's like Steve Carell in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I mean, it's detailed. We got this one from Adjlam88. He says, Larry, are you able to get Brent Jones or Steve Young on the show if you make the Super Bowl? Absolutely. We'll get those guys on. Senior softball games. Okay, yeah, we read that one already.
By the way, quick Giants note. I don't know if he was wearing it because he was doing a presser or what, but Fred Warner had a fire-ass San Francisco Giants jacket on, and he was rocking the hat. Nice. I actually told him, I said, I was like, Fred, dude, that is fire. Where'd you get that? And he's like, I actually got it at the team store, which is surprising because it was pretty fire.
I don't know why more players don't do that. I mean, if you want to ingratiate yourself to the fans and have them just, absolutely love you, walk around town wearing Warriors or Giants gear. Sean says trade Trey now. Wow. Jaguayo says, here's $2. Are you surprised by Kittle's resurgence? I read that.
You read that.
We read that.
Did you want to do the you took the one off there for the baseball? There was a super chat for.
Oh, well, this is the perfect. This is the perfect picture for that.
Glass half full guy. He says, I know this is 49er talk, but any chance the Giants get back on Correa? I know Farhan had said they wouldn't go back. but I'm hoping otherwise. Danny thinks that it's the Twins that are back in on Correa, and he doesn't
Twins,
think it's the
Basil.
Giants. But yeah, I would absolutely go back to Correa and absolutely try to woo him again. But I want to go, I want to go 5, 6, 7, 8 years in that range. If we can work something out between 5 years and 8 years, then I'm interested. If it goes beyond that, sorry,
Well,
Carlos.
in this particular situation, Farhan has talked too much all since he's really been head of the Giants. He's always spoke about things and things never seem to come to fruition. He didn't promise, but he said we've got the ability to sign anybody this year. If I'm Farhan, I just keep my mouth quiet and I go out and secretly sign Correa. Don't bring it up. If you don't get him, you don't get him. You already said you weren't probably going to get him, that other teams are in on him. So just stay quiet. And then if you sign him, you look like a hero for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Under promise and over deliver. You've already tried it the other way. You've over promised and under delivered. Maybe try it. I don't know, the other way. Tell nobody of anything, and then just announce it after you've signed him. And
Exactly.
I wouldn't even have a press conference based on the track record here. I would just sign him and say, "Hey, everybody, here's a picture of him. Here's a video of him. He'll be at spring training. See you there." And then that's it. Let your game talk for you.
Man,
No more
remember how
press
excited
conferences.
you were when after the season ticket holder meeting when they were tickling your
Danny,
pickle?
there were people that
Exactly.
thought they were getting Correa and Judge.
Oh yeah.
That would have been my thing. If you really want to try and turn the thing around, right now, MLB Power Rankings has them 20th out of 30 teams.
Even that's kind of dubious.
Yeah, I mean, 20th. I mean, Arizona
And
right
there's,
behind.
There's easily 5 teams that have a damn good argument.
Yeah, I mean, you're either way. You're looking at this. You're the last third of baseball. You're not in the top 2/3 of the game. You're in the back half. So this is the team that has tons of money, has unbelievable tradition of, has a paid off ballpark, has historic names in their franchise. When you're talking historic figures, ball players, only the Yankees surpass them. I mean, not even the Dodgers surpass them in terms of. I did an exercise once. I took a starting 9, and
you just did crunches until you.
The only edge all time, the Dodger players versus the Giants.
People care about today and where it's going. Nobody says, "Hey, I want to go see blankety blank. I want to go buy blankety blank's jersey." Why? Because the Giants have the all-time fourth best winning percentage.
No, that's why you got to get it now. They should be adding.
They're like, "Hey, I want to see this player. I want to see that player."
But if you look
at the core, that is the Giants' problem. They don't have anybody that you want to buy a jersey for.
Exactly. But my point was this is a rich traditional franchise that should have the top guys, some of the top guys. They should be in the MLB top 10 every year.
It's not your birthright. It's just because you got nice little history and nice little story doesn't mean it's your birthright to get anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to go out and do it.
It's a dog-eat-dog world. You got to compete. You got to go out there.
That's my point. That's my point.
And they're not.
My point is that they should be doing that. They are acting like Moneyball. And Farhan said he read the book Moneyball and it changed his life. And that's who the Giants went with. And they let Brian Sabean walk out the door, the guy who is the architect of many of the Yankees championships for all the players he scouted and drafted with the Yankees. And then he came here and did it again. Hey, we got one of the top guys ever, executives. Why don't we just let him go and bring in this Moneyball guy?
All right.
Sabey Sabes.
Before I just saw we just went down. We just went down 21 pretty quickly.
Jeremy Lopez, let him talk. Okay. Let him talk. I understand. Dan's fired up. I just gotta be. I got plenty to say about the Giants. I just need to see them do something first. I can't talk about nothingness right now. What's there to talk about? They
No.
DFA'd LaStella. Great.
Especially on the eve of the Niners making the playoffs.
So
and
far, I'm
everything.
not impressed. If they do something that impresses me, it's all to be determined.
Yes.
To be determined. If they get it going, we'll notice them. We'll talk about them. As far as this playoff run, it's interesting, guys. When you look at the competition across the board, everybody's got it seems like some issue. Josh Allen, I was seeing he's one interception shy of the NFL lead. He's thrown 13 picks this year. And then when they were going through every team's weakness, and when it came time to the Niners' weakness, and they're just like, well, they got a third string quarterback. And history says that.
Muted. Larry, you're muted.
There we go. This mic that I have, it's like if I touch it at all, it just mutes. But yeah, basically it said that the Niners' big weakness was the fact they had Brock Purdy. And I'll say,
wow,
I don't think Brock Purdy is a weakness. Now for Dallas, it was interesting. For Dallas, they said that Prescott, is tied for the league lead in interceptions. Dallas doesn't stop the run. Dallas has turned the ball over 12 times in the last 6 weeks coming into today. For the Eagles, their big question is health. For Cincinnati, they haven't lost since Halloween. But they were saying that defensively there's some questions. For Baltimore, is Lamar coming back? How good are they? For Kansas City, they kind of play down to their competition. They've got one loss since the middle of October. They get the highest scoring offense in the league, at least until the Niners started cooking. But they've let a lot of pretty average football teams hang around. So everybody's got a weakness. If the Niners' weakness, quote unquote weakness, is supposed to be Brock Purdy, I think the nation is going to figure out that the Niners are pretty damn good. If that's their weakness, they're sitting chilly.
Good night, Hutch.
The other exercise I want to look up, I'm not quite sure how to do it, but I'll figure it out. Has any team ever won the Super Bowl that has won 10 straight games going into the playoffs? I mean, obviously off the top of my head, the 7 or 16-0 Patriots, they didn't do
Dolphins.
it. The 82 Dolphins?
72.
72.
They didn't lose a game.
Other than them? Or in the modern era, because it never seems like it works out that way, that a team that hot just carries it in. But
it's I don't know about that, because it's like I read a thing today that the 49ers have gotten the number 1 seed 9 times in their history, and 4 of those 9 times they won the Super Bowl. So they only have 5 Super Bowls total. So 4 of the 5 Super Bowls, the Niners were the number 1 seed. So, I mean, yeah, as far as streaks and how many wins and 10 wins, I don't know about that. But, I mean, you want to be playing your best football. You want that bye. It used to be the first 2 teams got the bye.
Right.
Now it's only the top team gets the bye. It makes it that much more difficult. But, it's all – everybody's in a different spot. Like Philadelphia – I think is kind of limping towards the finish line because they've got a number of guys hurt. I see the 49ers as a team that suffered a lot of injuries early, but now are getting healthier. And I don't know. I think Cincinnati clearly is peaking right now. If I said to you guys, and this was a question that came up today, what team, because the Niners now have won 10 in a row, right? That's the longest active streak in the NFL. The Bengals have won 8 in a row. That's second. The Bills have won 7 in a row. The Jaguars have won 5 in a row, I believe. Green Bay just lost. Chargers have won 5 in a row. Chiefs have won 5 in a row.
Chargers lost.
Okay, so
they also lost Mike Williams today too.
No,
he went out. But which team would you say, if I say to you, which team in the NFL has the most momentum today?
That's the
going towards the
Niners.
Super Bowl? Is it the Niners?
Or the Chiefs.
Is it the Chiefs? Is it Buffalo? Buffalo, nothing is going to unite
7 in
Buffalo
a
more than
row.
what just
Yeah,
happened this week.
exactly. Yeah, I think
Um,
Buffalo, well, really the top 3 seeds in the AFC, all of them are on long win streaks. Chiefs, Buffalo, and the Bengals have the longest win streak. Then Buffalo, and then the Chiefs, and then it's the Niners. So to me, those 4 teams have the most momentum, and I think the Niners face one of those 3 teams in the AFC.
What do you think, Ray?
I mean, I don't know. I'm still worried about the Eagles, but
I think when it comes down, that's not going to be an easy game if it comes about. I just got this feeling that the Niners are going to be playing 3 games at home.
Who do you think's taking the Eagles down?
I think either the Giants or the winner of the Cowboys Bucks can beat them. I think in the playoffs, the game changes.
Do you sense? Okay, here's my question: do you sense Tampa's got the magic this year? Because I don't. So it would have to be Dallas, I guess. Maybe Dallas could take him out.
Well, see, I think if it's Dallas or the Giants, it's going to be a tough game for the Eagles. I think Dable may have looked ahead and saw that this is a possible matchup and said, I'm not going to, I'm going to not play my key guys. We'll give them a game, and then they'll give them something to think about, because Giants could go into that game with some momentum like the Niners went into Green Bay last year. If they win, that team that plays the first seed has some momentum, because, especially a team like the Giants, you're kind of playing. That's why the Seahawks could be a little scary, because they're kind of playing with house money, in my opinion. They're not expected to win. They're not
but they're not expected to win because they're crap.
That's what I mean. But I'd
rather play a crappy team. I mean, you said it at the start of the live stream. Between Detroit, Green Bay, and Seattle, Will Gavin and I talked about this on TalkSport in the postgame today. Between those 3 teams, if you could handpick one, you'd pick Seattle, and they've got Seattle. I think it sets up beautifully.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
That's the way I would pick it. If I could pick the whole thing, I would be like, give me, first win, and then at home to either. I'm not worried about either Minnesota or, whether it be Minnesota
Giants.
or the Cowboys, and then
the Giants would go. If Giants win, they're going to Philly.
Right. And then hope the Giants beat Philly, knock them off, a division game, hated rivals, pretty close in proximity. You're talking.
Dan, you could do the same exact handicap for the Seahawks game.
What's that?
That same exact handicap could be the Seahawks.
Well, it's the same thing. That's why I say I don't take the Seahawks lightly. You don't hear me saying it's a gimme. I think anytime you play a division game and you're facing a coach like Pete Carroll, you better be prepared. I think the Niners will handle them, because I think it's a veteran club, and I think Kyle's, got a lot of moxie and mojo that he carries, and I think he's going to be like, in these guys. These guys are veterans. They've been down the road. This is a team that is got one focus, one mission in mind, and that's to win the Super Bowl. You don't see too many rookies you got the quarterback, but to me, he's playing like a veteran in a way. I heard him on the post game tonight after the game, and he basically says, I got all these weapons. I just got to do my job. I'm not the guy that has to come in and do everything. So I like that. I like Purdy. I don't know why they said, who was that said that was their weakness?
Oh, that's just what everyone's saying. If you were to write an article, Dan, what would you say is their weakness?
I would say it's probably the defensive secondary gives up some big plays and a lot of passes underneath.
But also you got to think they have the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Right.
And Charvarius Ward, Jimmy Ward, and Pro Bowler Hufanga.
But that would be I
People are
think
just
that's
going to
more of
point
a.
to.
I think that's more of a concern than the QB. But
Oh, I do too. We all do. But I'm just saying nationally, they're just saying, oh, well, come on, put a line through the Niners. They got a third string quarterback. Nobody ever wins the Super Bowl with the third string quarterback. The one issue with Seattle that is going to be something they're going to have to deal with is, Geno Smith's a runner. He had 51 yards rushing today against the Rams. Seattle ran for 5.5 yards a carry, and it was fueled by his 4 carries for 51 yards. He had a 25-yard run. They got to keep him hemmed in.
is that the real Grant right there?
What's that?
Is that the real Grant?
Don't know. Could be. Sup, Grant? Dude.
If that's Grant, bring
Oh,
him
you know
in.
what? I had an idea. Maybe we can tell Shanahan about this one layer when we're out at camp or at practice this week. I'm thinking one way to kind of throw Pete Carroll off his game is we should get anonymous flown out or brought over to the game just to tell Pete Carroll constantly that he needs to stop with the gum chewing.
Do we have Grant participating in the live stream? Is that
I don't
what you're
know.
saying?
No, I mean, I think you can just tell. I think you can just name yourself anything you want. So
Can you? Is that? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe so. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
somebody said we should bring. Did you type that in? Who typed that in?
no, I think probably Len.
Oh yeah.
Not Grant. Yeah. Oh, hey, verified Chris Hansen, the real Chris Hansen says not Grant. He would know. He's the real Chris Hansen.
If you find yourself on that show, you got major issues.
Yeah.
But I'm actually thinking this is the best way. This is the best setup for the 49ers to get Seattle, a team that they know. And yeah, they had a hard time last year. They couldn't beat the Rams a third time, but that Ram team was far better than this Seahawk team. If Jordan Brooks wasn't seriously hurt, I'd be like, okay, maybe Seattle's got a shot. Jordan Brooks is their best defensive linebacker, and he's I believe, their leading tackler, and he's done for the year. So I don't know. I think I'm not going to take anybody lightly just because it's the NFL playoffs. And Seattle did have 5 sacks today and 10 hits on the Ram quarterback Baker Mayfield, but the Rams also ran. The one thing with the Seahawks is the Seahawks cannot stop the run, and the Rams ran for 5.2 a carry. And if you go look at the Seahawks box scores for the last half of the year, they don't stop anybody running the ball. The Rams ran it 28 times for 146 yards. Cam Akers busted him for 100 yards. He went for 5 yards a carry. So I just think the 49ers have a better run game at this point than the Rams, and they're going to run it on Seattle. And then it's going to be about taking care of the football, taking care of the football. And they'll be interesting too, because this will be Brock in his first playoff game against a team that he's playing. This will be the first time he's played a team a second time.
Right.
And that will be interesting because there'll be some adjustments. As Danny said, Pete Carroll's been in this league way, way, way too long to not have some adjustment. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but he'll have some adjustments, and they'll try.
And Kyle will have his though too. And
right. It does add a layer of intrigue to this thing that it's a divisional matchup, and it's Brock taking on Seattle for the second time. And if you look at the games that Brock has played, the Niners have scored 30 plus points against every defense they've gone up against except Seattle. So I think that game was like 21-13 or something like that.
Right.
So, who knows? Maybe this is more of a challenge than I'm thinking.
Hey, I have a quick idea for you guys real quick. It's going to be real quick. Did I mention that? So I think we all know the Niners, the Seahawks line, or at least somebody said it in the chat. So we all know it's 9.5 is the opening. I'm going to I just put down all of my guesses for the other 5 games. Why don't you guys give me what you think the line is going to be? And then I'll see. We'll see who's closest on all of them.
What are the
Bills, Dolphins?
Bills, Dolphins?
I'm going to say Bills by 6.5.
Okay.
Bills, Dolphins. You want me to go?
Yep.
Bills, Dolphins. At Buffalo, 8.5.
Oh, I like it. So I haven't looked any of these up yet. So Dan, 8 minus 8.5. So I had
have them
7.5.
I have them all here.
Okay. Well, don't look at them. Don't look at them.
Oh, okay.
I cheated.
No, I haven't looked at them yet, but I was gonna. I can.
Don't
I can-
don't.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll get them all down first. Or I'll just search on Google so we don't get, I'll just say Bills, Dolphins, opening line. So I guessed 7.5. The opening,
I guessed 8. What is it, like 10?
the opening line is,
I said 6.5. You said 10.5 or 8.5.
I said 8.5. It's probably even more. I just think Miami
It
looks
opened
awful right now.
It opened 7.5.
Yeah,
Really?
there you go. We're right in the middle.
What is it now, though? Is it still that?
It's now down to 7.
49er Faithful says here's $1.99. But the last time we beat Seattle without Debo and without Elijah. There we go. We also have this one. Godzilla says here's $5. What is Brock Purdy's official nickname?
I just looked it up,
Glock.
Bri. It's showing 10.5. My Buffalo. Is it changed, or is this? Am I looking at maybe I bet?
What side are you on, and how are you keeping yourself from cheating?
No, I just looked it up.
Yeah. You just looked that one.
Well, I thought we
didn't see any
stopped.
of the-
Were you going to do the rest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't looked at the others yet.
In that case,
honestly,
I'll just keep guessing.
I just looked at Buffalo.
There was a lying sack of shit in my 4th grade class who, during a spelling test, put the book in his lap, and everybody's like, "What the hell? He's cheating!" And he's like, "I'm not cheating. I'm just looking to see what the next word is."
Oh,
It was
you
a
know
spelling
what?
test.
You know what? I'm wrong. I must have clicked on this. It must have been a Buffalo. It must have been the previous Buffalo Miami game. It's actually 10.
10.
It's 10. So the winner is Dan at minus
Wow.
8.5.
Look at that. Jet Black Threat says here's $2. When what does it say? When will cement 49ers as the NFC West leaders for years? The winner.
What'd you say the
winner
Niners
win.
was?
Beating Seattle.
Or did you already say the Niner?
I already said the Niners. It was 9.5.
What was it?
9.5.
9.5.
That's what someone in the chat said.
I think that sounds like a little high. I think it's more like 7.5. All right.
Okay. How about this one?
Wait a minute. If Buffalo's favored by what? 10?
10.
10.5? Niners got to be at least closer to 10 then. That's
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they are. They're 9.5.
Okay. I thought they would have been over 10. All right.
No.
What's the next one?
Okay. So, all right. Bengals, Ravens. Bengals home hosting Ravens. Unsure about Lamar's availability.
Bengals by 6.5.
7.5.
Okay. Larry says 6.5.
Yep.
I say 7.5.
And you say 7.5. I said 6. So
What is it?
Are
Are you looking up a site, or are you just looking?
No, I'm just searching on Google, so it's like.
Just go to like.
But then I'm going to see the other ones.
Oh.
Okay, it opened at 5.5 DraftKings. So that one goes to moi. Okay. All right. I'll be a little quicker here. Okay, Jags home for the Chargers. I said Jags pick them.
I'll say Jags. Jags with Williams is out. They never do. It's always a half, right?
No, can be pick 'em.
Jags minus 3.5.
I'll say Jags 1.5, 2.
It's Chargers minus 1.5.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Dude, don't sleep on the lightning bolts. Show me your lightning bolt.
Okay.
That's Hacksaw Hamilton. Touchdown, Marion Butts.
Yes.
Touchdown, San Diego Chargers, Marion Butts.
Okay. So these ones will go quicker because I'll say my thing, and then that way I can look it up right after.
Show me your lightning bolt, everybody.
Okay. Vikings home versus the Giants. I said Vikings minus 4.5.
I'll say
Say it again.
I'll say
It's
Vikings.
Vikings, Giants, home Vikings.
I'll say Vikings minus 3.5.
I'll say Vikings minus 5.
It is -3.
Wow.
Yes.
Planet
so
Serpo,
that's
$5.
Dan.
Great show. Still waiting for some 95.7 The Game OGs to show up. Shout out Guru and Dibs.
Shout out.
Well,
Okay.
Guru's got the standing invite. Dibs I've invited before. We'll get those guys in here.
Okay, here's the very last one.
Okay.
Bucks home for the Cowboys. I say Cowgirls -2.
Cowgirls. I'm going to give them a field goal. Cowboys.
Dallas by field goal.
Yeah. It's usually when it's an even game.
I'm going to say Dallas minus 3.5.
It's 3. All right, so Dan actually wins because he got 2 right. Good for you, Dan.
Didn't I get I got 3 right. I got the first one. I got the 8.5.
Oh, you're right.
It was closer to, yeah.
So you won by more.
You won. You dominated. It was, wait, 1.
Speaking of dominated, can we go?
What do you want? What do you want? A biscuit?
I want a T-shirt.
Oh, you know what else is? You know what else is fun? I'm gonna
I'll give you a T-shirt if you agree to put it on and take it off in the middle of the show. Scare the audience.
Wait, we're done with the we're done with the regular season, so I actually can update our.
Yes. Oh, new member!
Yeah, let's go, Planet Serpo.
There we go. Look at that, Planet Serpo, new YouTube member. Thank you, sir. We got this one, 49er Josh, faithful forever. Congrats on 10,000 subs, Krug. On your way to 100,000. Great show. Sub and like, faithful. Yeah, we have nearly 600 people in the room right now. If you're here for the first time or if you have yet to subscribe, hit like. It helps the algorithm. Hit subscribe, and it will just notify you anytime we're going live. We talk a lot of Niners.
Right. Yeah.
Talk a lot of we talk some baseball during the baseball season. We'll talk a little Warriors in the playoff run.
Rye's going to pull up our little contest.
Our contest from before the season where we drafted teams. So
you get 1 point.
I got to update it, but
you got 1 point for each win.
You get 1 point for each win, and
Wait a minute. Another member.
Oh,
look at that, Robert Boyd. Robert Boyd in the house. Look at that.
Let's go, Robert.
Boyd, YouTube member. Welcome aboard, Robert. I do member videos every day. I did one today. My member video. Can you go on YouTube, Brian, and call it my member video?
Is that when you're getting dressed or what?
No, I did my 95.7 The Game pregame, so I taped Low Neil in the parking lot.
Unfortunately, I cannot because I got locked out of the YouTube account.
There's a lot of distrust behind the scenes on the channel. Lots of distrust.
How about like Larry's new for members only? He does like hi, members only. Good morning, everybody. I'm just getting out
Sean
of bed.
Wolford. Larry does sexy videos. What do you mean? All videos are sexy.
Larry's like every morning. Hi, this is to my members. I'm getting out of bed. I'm gonna put my shorts on one leg at a time, just like you guys. And
welcome to my member show. We talk about my member.
Oh, Dan, you got kind of what? Oh, this is fun. What if now that he's doing much better, I think we can joke about it.
Carlo P, guys, is loving the members only videos.
Yeah, and I think you should go behind the scenes with that Warrior jersey and kind of show them what it fits, how it fits today.
Loving the videos.
You love a sports show who talks
sports and sausage.
Wait, Dan, did you think about the ramifications that you, in fact, have the Bengals? Larry, you have the Bills, so both are minus. You lost an opportunity at a win.
Hey, Pasquale, Dan Coccimligio here.
There you go.
Hey, you should. I got a picture of Buster today. He was advertising Pasquale today too.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
There you go. That's just a little tease. It's a little tease of what's coming up later in the program.
The cooking channel. Planet Serpo says it's the cooking channel.
Oh, we do recipes. We could do recipes.
We should.
Yeah, I might have
Coming
to
up
break
next,
out.
my famous popover recipe. I will, get it done for you in 12 minutes, and you will have delicious popovers
Yeah.
for your next meal.
Man, this is my very special.
Yeah, I can do a video for everybody.
Jeremy Lopez. Wait a second. Jeremy Lopez says,
Oh.
"How does Krug know Pasquale?" What? What do you mean? How do I know Pasquale?
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
What is the
How was that
origin of
Sunday
your
dinner?
relationship?
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
And we're there. That's what he says. The rest of it, we just haven't put it out there. Yeah. How do I know Pasquale? We go way back. Are you kidding me? Pasquale and I, we've done a couple deals together.
Leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. I know a Dan Coccimligio. Now, Pasquale actually was I was their commercial guy on the radio, and so we got to know each other through the radio. And then when I started my own channel, they were like, "Hey, man, we love the content. We always loved you as a pitch man. We'd love to be a part of it." I said, "I'd love to have you guys be a part of it." And onward and upward. In fact, we're meeting with them coming up this week just to discuss different ways we can creatively grow the partnership. But one of their suggestions, I think, is probably to get rid of Dan, and that's going to be painful. So, we like sausage, but we like Dan. Maybe we should have a poll question. What do we like more, sausage or Dan? No, I'm just joking. But they are going to join us for more stuff this year. And Pasquale has granted Ryan and I an interview. So we're going to have all kinds of Pasquale love.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be epic.
Oh.
I think we ought to debut at Super Bowl week.
Oh.
Don't you
I wonder if
think?
Pasquale would sponsor our Super Bowl trip,
Oh, God.
our sausage fest in Arizona.
Seriously, we could call it that, a sausage fest in Arizona. I mean, that would just Bomber T says, "Keep Dan." See, now it's become a kind of a debate in the chat. Some of the people are saying keep Dan. Some people are mad at Dan. Some people don't like the air fryer sausage. They don't think it's good. Senior softball games. Krug only fans. Cossart are fire. Okay. How about this one? Romo 2001. Larry and Pasquale met back east in New York. Connecticut. That's right. We met back east in New York. I mean, Connecticut, Bridgeport. So, yeah. Let's see. We got this one. Sean Wilford. Larry, are you with Grant Monday or Tuesday this week? I'm thinking it's going to be a Monday stream. I'm thinking it's a Monday deal. But I'm also doing stuff coming up this week with Vish, with Softy Mahler. Softy and I will yell at each other for a little bit. So we got a lot on the channel this week leading into the playoffs. Plus, we're going to be in Santa Clara getting Niner interviews in advance of the playoffs. What, Tuesday? I'm not even sure what days.
I'm not sure for this week.
Might be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, huh?
Yeah.
Probably will be.
Maybe we get some special days that we'll know tomorrow.
Yeah. So who would you like us to talk to this week? If you could choose to hear an interview this week on the channel, who would you like to hear? Danny?
Yeah.
You got a choice?
You're asking me? Oh, I thought you were asking the.
Well, I'm asking the chat,
audience.
but you might as well. We could ask you as well.
Let's see. Someone you haven't interviewed
Pasquale.
before. So let's. How about? I know some of the bigger
Tashaun Gipson.
Some of the bigger guys
Kittle?
are hard to get sometimes, or.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Somebody interesting that we haven't heard from. How about
Trent? Is that Trent Williams or Trent Baalke?
Yeah.
We're really just happy that the Jags and the Niners both qualified for the playoffs, and they've got good players. We've got good players.
He always emphasized every word.
It would be a good interview because it's the playoffs and there's a lot of pressure.
Playoffs?
Yeah, Herm
a lot
Edwards.
of pressure. Robbie Gould.
Robbie
Robbie
has
Gould.
been Robbie name dropped both of us within a matter of like a couple days. And
You know
which
what?
is
We're
interesting.
going for Robbie. We're going for Robbie.
Yeah, we should go for Robbie.
Let's just get in there.
Just
and
a
go
lot
right
of good
to Robbie.
questions you can ask about pressure and what are you thinking? What are you doing over there on the sideline when
What do
you're
you
watching?
do? What do you just start asking him those like kind of like?
What,
I
what
mean,
if he
I
was
know
like,
what-
"Oh, I've never
what
thought
are
about
you
it."
doing back there? What are you?
No,
what
I'm
are
just
you
doing.
doing?
I mean, I was a field goal kicker, and I was always like, "Come on, get it into range. Get it."
Should
into
I bring
range,
you
know?
up?
Yes, you bring me
I have
up.
a
Yeah,
friend
yeah.
who's a field goal kicker. You may have heard of him. His name's Dan Coccimligio.
Yeah,
Smaller league, granted, but still a kicker. A brother in foot with you. Something like that is. What do you think? Do you think he probably wouldn't have patience for that?
He probably wouldn't remember me.
I would love to. Mikey 49er suggests Robbie and Mitch together. We could probably pull that off.
Yeah,
that would be.
You know what I was thinking? Even some creative stuff. What do you think of, since we're having a hard time getting Brock now because Brock's a star? How about just we troll Brock by getting Alfredo and Zakel together?
I know. I would love that.
Yeah, and you can get Robbie and Mitch because you've got Pepper. Pepper likes you guys, so you could just go, hey, let's get the.
Hey, we talked to your long
trio
snapper,
together.
and if you don't talk to us, I hear everything's going to be high and wide.
Yeah, what if we were talking to him? He's like, "Oh, I've actually never thought about pressure before," and then he just melts.
You go up
down.
to the kicker. Hey, I talked to the long snapper that today. He owed me some money. He's not a big fan of yours. Anyway, hey, have a good day, Robbie. Talk to you around. We'll see you around. Just have that plant that seed all week. Wait a second.
Oh, Vicky Pellich says $1.99.
Yeah, okay,
Vicky Pellich, my Krueg Show Fantasy League playoff partner, who I happen to beat 2 weeks in the last.
You can even make that sound kind of creepy.
Finished 5th. Yeah, the guy that started 0-4 and made it all the way into the round robin.
Who knew that 179 transactions later, you would
That's
be
right.
Decent.
Yeah. Can't wait till next year's team. Now that I know what I'm doing with the draft.
Danny's going to buy like those magazines. He's going to be like studying up in the off season. We pick up his phone. He's got like Matthew Berry, listed in his phone.
Now that I'm not looking for the big board that we're checking off, I thought we were
next time we're hanging with Dan, all of a sudden the phone rings. We pick it up. And it's Eric Carabell.
Eric Carabell.
It's Stephania Bell. He's talking injuries.
Oh,
with Stephania Bell.
I love some Stephania Bell.
That would be awesome.
Trey Lance, somebody said.
Trey Lance. Why not?
Hey, Mikey, get out of here. I hit a 42-yarder my sophomore year.
What's Mikey saying?
What's your longest field goal, Dan?
25?
42-yarders, sophomore.
40 into the wind or again, or
thing was going at the height of the uprights or the up. Yeah. What do they call those ones? The uprights, right?
Yeah, those are called uprights.
Crossbar. Yeah, upright.
Yeah.
It was as high as the uprights, and it was going thing. Most people said
those high school stadiums had small uprights.
Yeah, but it was way over. That thing went way back.
It wasn't NFL uprights.
That thing hit.
Who are you fooling? You're not Harrison
56,
Butker.
That thing had 56, 57 all over it. But that was the best one I actually.
Jan Stenerud, Coccimligio over there.
That was it. 42. I never attempted another one longer.
Dempsey? Were you like just a toe kicker, or were you a soccer style?
I was soccer style.
Soccer style. Oh yeah, you're modern.
Yeah. I could pop up some video here someday.
Are we ever going to see a kicker who's like pendulum style ever again?
No.
Define. I don't even know what that is.
Straight.
Back in the days, the soccer style, which you see now, which is prevalent, was new. There used to be like guys would literally like a pendulum.
Really?
Swing their leg back. Yeah.
I'm gonna put some video together, send it to Ryan. We'll see some of those kicks.
Your huddle.
You remember the kick that if you said what's the most amazing kick you've ever seen? I would say it was Vinatieri against the Raiders in that snow thing in Foxborough, where he kicked it like 48 yards, but it never got like more than 10 feet off the ground.
Well, Justin Tucker, didn't he hit the
Tucker one was shot the record breaker, even
and
though it wasn't.
hit the crossbar and bounced over, right?
Yeah, the Mason
Is
crossbar.
Tucker even human? He seems like he's just a machine.
The original one that I saw for years was one of those guys that, like, what'd you call him? What'd you call those guys that kick straight on?
Pendulum?
They were like pendulum kickers.
The original one that lasted for years on the highlight reel was Tom Dempsey's 63-yarder.
But Tom Dempsey had a club foot. There was the guy who kicked for Washington in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
who was the kicker for
Mark
Washington
Mosley.
in the year?
Mark Mosley.
Mark Mosley. He was just a straight-on kicker.
Yeah. George Blanda had a year in the
George Blanda kicked that way, right?
I want to say he was the backup quarterback and the field goal kicker, and it was amazing. He had 1 year. I used to listen to all the games with Bill King. George Blanda won like 4 games in the last 6 games of the season, all with field goals, and it was like unbelievable to listen to Bill King on the radio describe those kicks. He had one game where he came in, drove down the field. He was the quarterback, and he got him into field goal position, kicked the winning field goal. It was like unbelievable. He was like, wasn't Blanda close to 50 at the end of his career? I know he was.
Yeah. He was ancient.
It was unbelievable.
Lovie Smith, by the way, fired today by the Texans. Did that surprise you guys at all?
No,
they went 3-13-1 in his first season. I met him. He came in studio when he was coaching the Illini, and they played in the San Francisco Bowl game. And I had a chance to meet him and talk to him. Really nice guy. I mean, really nice guy. I'm a Lovie Smith fan, but, what can you say? Texans were bad. Couple last things here. Why don't we do this? We've got 530 people in the room. Let's play a couple of spots, and then we'll come back and have a couple more thoughts.
Yeah, Rye's got his. He's putting together.
I've got him.
Okay, so hang with us. We'll take a break right here. Get a drink of water. Come back with a little bit more on the Krueg Show.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, Telmetrix.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimligio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com, or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger, Dan Coccimligio, Ryan Smith, the boys wandering around. We'll get everybody back in here. Oh, wait a second. Sean Wilford says Larry is bomb. The bomb or has a bomb? I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but thank you. I do believe. One of the things that I wanted to, who gets your game ball today? If I said, give me an offensive game ball, give me a defensive game ball for the 49ers today, who would you give it to? And I was thinking about this. I think I would give my offensive game ball to Brock Purdy. Now, I know you say, well, it didn't seem like it was a great game for Brock Purdy, but no turnovers. The offensive line did not do a great job today. He got hit a lot. He was sacked 4 times. The Cardinals defense had 6 hits on the quarterback. So he got 4 sacks, 6 hits on the quarterback. He still found a way to complete 75% of his passes, 3 more touchdowns, and no picks. And as these games start to add up one after another, and Brock Purdy is playing good football, taking care of the football, that's how you're going to win in the playoffs. You don't need to throw for 285 yards. You don't have to throw for 4 bills. You don't have to. You just need, in this offense, it's going to be a run-heavy scheme. The quarterback needs to make efficient, accurate throws and be able to extend plays from time to time. And that's what Brock Purdy does. 15 of 20, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns. And despite the 4 sacks, he did not turn it over. No fumbles, no picks. So I'm going to give Brock my offensive game ball for sure. As far as defensive game ball, I mean, to me, I think, I'll leave one of the guys to go with Tashaun Gipson, because Gibson, playing deep center field, came away with 2 interceptions, and obviously that's a headline grabber. But I'm gonna go with 2 guys that I think are kind of underrated. Jordan Willis, who Jordan Willis had a sack, he had a hit on the quarterback, he had 3 tackles, he had a couple solo tackles, he was pretty good against the run. Jordan Willis just continues to produce every single week. And then Azeez Al-Shaair. I mean, Al-Shaair is the best linebacker in the league that barely plays. 10 tackles, 4 solo, a quarterback hit. Man, if I was another team and I'm looking at potential guys to bid on in free agency, I'm bidding on Azeez Al-Shaair. He's fresh. He's fast. He loves
fresh in, fresh out.
He's fresh in, he's fresh out. And so there you go. I was saying, guys, in this final segment, I thought, let's go with our game balls. Who gets your game ball offensively? Who gets your game ball defensively? I'm giving mine to Jordan Willis and Azeez Al-Shaair on defense, and Brock Purdy on offense. Who gets your game ball today?
I'll say offense. Why not Elijah Mitchell? It's good to see you back, Mitchell. 2 touchdowns, right? Just, it wasn't anything too insane, but it's just great to see him back, see him healthy, brought a spark. And then offensively or defensively, who'd you say?
I went with Jordan Willis and Azeez.
Oh, I got to go Gipson.
Yeah, Gipson had a great game. Jaguars says an interview with D'Amico Ryans would be interesting.
Yeah, awesome.
Waveware says Gipson had a great game for sure. I think he'll show up again for the playoffs. Yeah, I think Gipson might be a secret weapon. He's got a ton of picks. That's what he does. He catches interceptions. He's in a lot of ways he's the anti-Jaquoski.
By the way, were you not kind of shocked that like Jaquoski Tart just never got picked up? it kind of is indicative.
Yes
of,
and no. I mean, Jaworski is a box safety in a league that, plays sub package about 70% of the time. And he really has to do what Demetrius Flanagan-Foles has done, which is transition to linebacker, to weak side backer. And Flanagan-Fowles told us this week he was 204 in Tucson for the Wildcats, and he's like 220 now. So, I don't think Tart's career is over. I think he'll be in somebody's camp next summer, giving it one more try. But who knows? What was the injury, by the way, to Demetrius Flanagan-Foles today?
Ooh,
I think it might have been a neck or something.
Yeah,
but wasn't he back out there afterwards?
I thought they said he was out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was a neck. Might have been a stinger. I'm not sure what it was. Speaking of injuries,
who gets your game ball though? Who gets your offensive and defensive game ball?
Eddie's asking a medical question here of us.
Hey, Chat or Larry, Ryan, or Dan, a bit serious question, but have any of you all had an appendectomy? Ooh, gosh.
No.
Not saying I feel it
one.
or that it's not happening. I'm just a bit curious. LOL. Oh.
Yeah, that's not. I have not know somebody that had one, and it's. They said it was one of the most painful things ever, and they had to, get rushed.
Well, okay.
To the doctor.
If your appendix burst, I think you're in a much more serious health situation than if you're just having appendicitis or some kind of pain. I'm not a doctor, but I would say it's one of those things where if you really think it's your appendix, you probably should go to like an urgent care
ER.
ER, but I mean, God knows.
Urgent care is probably not open at 10:30 though.
Well, in bigger communities outside of northern Phoenix, they usually stay open later. But
urgent.
We have a few.
Urgent care is open late in Walnut Creek, Danny. I don't know about.
All right, we have a few 24-hour ones. I really don't know where Eddie K's 24 is calling from, but maybe
he could be calling from the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps.
There you go. So my question: who's the game ball?
Who gets your game ball?
Ayuk on offense, going over 1,000 yards.
There you go. That's a good one. Big moment for him.
Yeah, and Debo kind of got right up to him when he on the catch. He went over, and you could see he was like, congratulating him right in his face on the field there. The catch he caught in the second half. I can't remember how long it was, but it was about a 20-yarder. Defense, I'll go with. Just to be different than Rye, I'll go with Flanagan-Foles with 10 tackles. Who'd you go with, Larry?
No. Did he have 10 tackles?
Didn't you say he had 10 tackles today?
No, I was saying Aziz had 10 tackles. Flanagan-Foles.
I meant Aziz. I'll go with Aziz.
Yeah. Aziz.
Who'd you pick on defense?
I went Aziz and Jordan Willis.
Oh, you went Aziz too? Okay. Yeah.
How dare you?
You can just steal mine. What the hell?
Oh, you know what? I'll forget that.
Have you ever seen the rap with like
Boza
John and
closing
Dave
out
and
the depoy of the year?
You can't.
I'll keep it different. Okay, I'll take it different. I'll go with Boza capping off the depoy.
Real original, Dan.
Oh yeah, anybody go with Boza. Well, you're the kind of guy who sides with the IRS in a tax matter.
Got his 18.5 sack. Could have maybe got another half in there on Ebba. Somebody's got a sack where Boza was like right there. Like, I don't know if they gave him credit for a half or not.
Huh.
B4 said he had a burst appendix. Spent 4 days in the hospital post-surgery. Yeah, I don't think a burst appendix is a good thing. Jaguar 56 says $2. An interview with D'Amico Ryans would be interesting.
Absolutely, it would.
D'Amico, I think, is going to have his pick of jobs. That's the talk, guys. The talk is all. I don't know if you saw any of the pregame shows today, but a lot of the pregame dialogue was about how D'Amico's like the hottest commodity in the coaching.
Oh, yeah. I think the two hottest coach candidates are going to be D'Amico and
Kingsbury's pretty hot,
and Sean Payton,
and maybe Harbaugh.
Maybe Harbaugh. There's going to be some interesting job, especially if McVay does decide to kind of semi-retire for a while, go into the booth and maybe come back at 10 years at 46. He's only 36, but I can see McVay retiring at this point, especially depending on the health of Stafford. And I would hate to see either D'Amico or Peyton be in the coaching in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The pick is going to be nice, though.
I think there's going to be 2 openings. I think Arizona and LA. I think McVay may retire.
By the way, people asking, what's going on with the channel this week. Warriors play at home against the Suns Tuesday night. We'll do a live stream after that for sure on Tuesday night. We'll also maybe do a live stream tomorrow night after the national championship. What do you guys think of that?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
So tomorrow night, who do you guys got? It's TCU and Georgia. I like Georgia, but I don't like them on the spread at 12.5. I'm thinking about teasing that down to Georgia -5. And I'm just trying to decide, do I go Georgia to the under and tease it up? I think it's like 63.5. You can tease that thing up to 71 and go under, or do I tease it down and go over? It seems like these college football games, I hate going under in any college game because these games refuse to end.
Why don't you just tease it with the Niners? Just have some patience.
You don't need to tease, Larry. You know football. You don't need to tease. Come on.
Are you guys ready to
tease? That's how good some of these spreads are.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'd go with, I don't like that 12.5. I mean, TCU just is scores and scores and scores and scores. And it's like Georgia is trying to go back to back, but I don't know. I mean, I think TCU might make it entertaining. I don't see a total blowout here.
No, I mean, they're very Vikings-esque. Just in terms of just being pretty lucky.
I would say if you said who's going to win, I'm pretty sure Georgia's going to win, but I think TCU's probably going to cover.
The question is how much, like at what level are you, like, would you risk your entire house or
no?
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Who are you going to be rooting for though? Betting aside, if you weren't betting.
See, I like Sonny Dykes, so I want to root for Sonny Dykes, but then Georgia, every big game that I've watched Georgia playing in the last, I don't know, ever since Kirby's been there, they like win them all.
Yeah.
What big game do they lose?
They lost to Bama once in that championship. When that was the pass to Devontae, wasn't it, from Tua?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. I don't know. They're all blending together. Are you guys ready to see the revealed what we got going on?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what do you got?
I actually think it's going to come down to very interesting because I think Larry has, maybe the 2 best team. Well, actually,
I have the best commercial name. Larry.
It's interesting.
Larry spilled a bunch of stuff on my counter
because Larry's got the
the asshole from any commercial there is. Larry's the asshole.
Ooh, Rye lost out on a Charger win today.
Oh, I know. So here's how I have this broken down. So your bottom 2 are eliminated. That's how we did it. So those don't count. So Dan, that actually hurts you because your bottom 2 had a 7 and a 6.
That just goes to show you that I kind of know exactly what I'm doing. And Larry's bottom 2 are like 4s and easy to throw out. I mean, I think I got a solid 8 and I'm being penalized.
Yeah. So, I mean, before that, so your score, including those, was 68. But removing those brings you down to 55.
Well, explain to the audience what we're doing here.
Okay. So essentially, it's super comp. No. Oh, gosh.
We drafted 8 teams.
Larry, you're lazy.
Yeah, we drafted 8 teams each in the beginning of the season before the season started, and you get 1 point for every win, and we keep 6 and throw out the bottom 2.
And there's like, it's gonna, so now that the playoffs have started, it's huge that if you make the playoffs, because each round the points increase. So like if you get a win in round 1, that's 2 points. If you get a win in the next round, that's 3 points. I think also the bye teams should probably, I think I wrote down that they just automatically get, the first round win. So that's pretty good for you two. You have the 2 bye teams. But so here's how it broke down.
Larry by default.
Well, so Dan had 68 points combined, and with his bottom 2 eliminated, he is at 55, like his over community. And you have alive still are the Eagles, 49ers, Bengals, and Bucks. That is pretty good. That is pretty good, especially because I thought before the year, like we were saying, like, oh, Dan's hogging all the NFC teams, like. He's got the best NFC teams. He got the Bucks and the Packers and the Niners, but then turned out to just kind of be the Eagles and Niners, which is pretty good. And then Bengals. So you got 4 teams left in the playoffs. You're sitting at 55. Larry has the Chiefs.
Ooh, I play Larry. Okay.
The Chiefs and the Bills. So that is strong. If they can both make it to the AFC Championship and then one of them goes on to win it, you're almost assuredly guaranteed to win. Your eliminated teams were the Colts and the Cardinals. That brings your score from 66.5 down to 59. So 4 points better than Dan. And you got Patriots got eliminated, Titans got eliminated, Browns those were kind of tough L's. And then for me, I'm just just all the mediocre playoff teams. I got 5 teams in the playoffs. My number 1 pick Rams are gone. But yeah, Vikings, Cowboys, Chargers, Ravens, and Dolphins, and then also the Commies, who I'm kind of surprised they're not in the playoffs, honestly. It seems, but I guess the Giants just bonked them out. So I was at 72.5, and -5 for the Rams, -5 for the Broncos. It brings me to 62.5. So right now I have a 3.5 game lead on Larry. Except for not even, because you guys get to have the automatic +2 because you both have a, damn it. Darn you guys. So you both are going to be up +2 because you both automatically have your the Chiefs and the Eagles.
70, you're saying?
Well, you'll be at 57.
Oh, 50, or is that 50? Yeah, 55. Okay, 57. Larry gets up to 61. And Ryan stays at 62.5.
That becomes, it's very interesting.
And how many points for a win?
So what I wrote down, let's see what I wrote in this madness. Crap. Wait, advance to divisional round. Wait,
yeah, that's the.
Okay, so if you get a win in round 1, that's 3 points. Oh, so you guys actually get +3, both of you, on those teams. So that means I think Larry's tied with me.
Larry.
And then advance to conference championship is 4 points.
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. So if I win, if I beat the 49ers beat Seattle, I get 3 points and Larry takes an L.
Exactly. And then Super Bowl 5, win Super Bowl 6. So, think about it. That's 6 regular season wins to win the Super Bowl. So it's a total of 18 points max per team. The regular season was 17 points, unless you had the Bills or Bengals. So I think it's a pretty fun little thing. I think it'll actually be pretty fun throughout the playoffs to monitor. So there you go. You guys have all the contenders, but I have 5 teams. I don't know what that means, but
you got Dolphins and Ravens.
Ravens, Chargers, Cowboys, Vikings. It's just like all of them.
Oh, but if they lose, if 3 of those, like let's say the Dolphins, Ravens, and Chargers lose, there's no more points for those, right? Just
exactly eliminated.
So you need. Wow, you could actually, Rye,
lose all of them.
There's a possibility that all 5 of those go down.
Well, screw you, Dan.
Dan.
I can't wait till my Ravens beat your Bengals.
The whole
and
thing.
then my Cowboys beat your Bucks.
Oh, that's right. Ravens, Bengals.
How did I get Chiefs and Buffalo?
You got You had 2 picks, I think, at one.
Yeah,
like,
you had the turn.
I think.
Or
you had
wait,
the
no,
turn.
maybe you didn't.
Nobody wanted Chiefs or Buffalo.
Wait, we can go back to the draft. It's probably hilarious.
We don't want to bore too many people.
No, we don't, but I am interested. Okay, it went Bills number 1, Tampa number 2, Rams number
Tampa.
3. I tried to be a little different, take Chargers instead of Chiefs, and then Dan went Packers. So just a top 2 of Tampa and Packers out of Babe. Larry took Colts and Chiefs. The Colts before whatever. And then, that's such fire value for Chiefs. It just goes to show how much hype like the AFC West had this year. Then Niners went, Ravens, Broncos, Eagles, Patriots, Titans, Bengals.
The Bengals were way down there.
I know. Cowboys, Vikings. That was good value for me at the turn. Saints, Browns,
Larry's value,
Cardinals,
the last pick. The Seahawks. I remember laughing at that pick.
Oh, I would. My last 2 were Dolphins and Commies. That's not bad. Steelers, Seahawks. Okay.
Steelers almost made it in. Darn it!
I know.
Had the Jets knocked off the Dolphins, the Steelers were in.
Let's see what good teams we just didn't even pick. The Giants are in the playoffs. The Jaguars are in the playoffs. The Lions threatened. The Jets threatened. Yeah, that's probably all right. Yeah.
Dang, I can't believe. See, I shouldn't have been listening to all that crap.
Well, we got duped by the Vegas odds also. Like I had those up while we were picking. Like
and the Niners were like, weren't they picking the Niners at 8 or 9 wins, something like that, 9.5?
It was 9.5. It was the same as the Broncos, which is crazy.
By the way, guys, the Bears have the number 1 pick in the draft now that the Texans blew it today. So the Bears have Justin Fields.
And Seattle's got Denver's pick, which is number 3.
Bryce Young is supposed to go number 1, but you have Justin Fields. Do the Bears do what Arizona did and kiss off of, they kissed off Rosen for Kyler? Will they kiss off of Fields for Bryce Young, or will they just go in a different direction?
Wait, people are calling me Ryan Zaidi. Ryan Zaidi. Sorry for everyone.
Well,
who do you take number 1 in the draft if you're the Bears? Will Anderson from Alabama, Bryce Young, Jalen Carter from Georgia.
I think there's just no way they make that
quarterback.
Pick. I think there's a better chance of the Seahawks beating the Niners than the Bears making that pick at number 1.
Yeah, somebody threw out a trade that was oh gosh, I gotta remember it. Is a Titans fan, I think. Who's the Titans? Like they've got
is it a super fan?
No, it was somebody well known. I can't remember who it was though. I saw it on Twitter, but they were saying
they were just being completely theoretical.
Clay Travis or somebody like that. He's a big Titans fan.
I'm trying to remember who's their big guy that's supposed to be defense that.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yes, Simmons and the 10 pick for the 1. That's what they were throwing out. What do you think of that?
For who? Who do they want?
The
Bryce Young. Vrabel doesn't want Bryce Young. Vrabel's going to want Derek
Bryce
Carr.
Young, really? I mean, Bryce Young is 6 feet.
They were talking about tearing it down, starting all over
probably
again.
5'11" and change, 190.
Not
really?
Even 190.
I don't know about that.
Larry, can you think about how nice this is for the Bears to have this number? Like they traded everything away, but it was worth it. They have the number 1 pick, and they're going to be able to. And there's all these quarterbacks that are going to all be crappy, and everyone's going to be wanting to trade up for them. They could literally they could trade down, then trade down again, and still wind up with like just 3 or 4 studs in the first round.
By the way, the Niners trading their pick for Trey. That pick is now 29th in the first round.
Yeah. So far, that's 28 and 29 or something like that in the first 2 years.
So I mean, yeah,
it's looking a little better.
There's not like that. There's not good players there. There's good players there, but it's not a top 5 pick.
Yeah, and especially when like you're getting all the compensatories. Also, McCaffrey's 2 now looks better. Or I don't even remember what all of that was.
It was a 2,
Whatever
a 3,
it
and
is,
a
it was
2, a 3, a
fantastic.
4,
and
and a
then
5, right?
another one, a 5 next year or the following year, I think, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
It
It's a lot.
was a very
But if
good
they win the
trade.
bowl, nobody will care.
Oh yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
you
he's
got
immediately. Is it kind of? It's kind of. I almost feel like cheating on Debo. Like Debo was like the most. He was just like the guy in the offense, the engine that made it all run. And it's kind of like, ooh, I kind of like this McCaffrey engine. It actually might be able to run by itself, even
Well, it's
without
gonna
Debo.
be-
And obviously,
it's-
he's going to be awesome to bring back. But like, C-Mac is like the guy already. It's kind of crazy.
They're
It's
gonna
gonna
run. It's gonna be
be-
a run-heavy game plan against Seattle.
It's going to be pretty wild though when you start seeing what they really can do with those guys in the backfield.
Think
Both
about all
motion.
the like crazy plays that Shanahan has drawn up. Like that's the thing that excites me about the playoffs is just busting those out. I still want to see the Mitch Wisnowski. The guy ran a 4.5. He played, Australian rules football. I want to see him do a fake punt. Runs as fast as Kaepernick.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I've got to watch some of this game. We got to get up early. If we got a conference call at 9 a.m., we're going to be live streaming again tomorrow after the national championship game tomorrow night. Look for my live stream tomorrow on Grant's channel. I'll be talking to Vish this week. Try to hook up with Kyle Posey from Niners Nation, maybe Jordan Elliott. We'll come on Tuesday night after Warriors Suns with maybe Cyrus, who's back in the mix now, Frank Red, Baller, and the fellas. So that's early in the week. We've got probably Niner interviews Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got a Saturday Niner game. So we'll be doing a lot of Niner stuff all week long on the channel. I'm definitely going to get Softy on sometime tomorrow for some kind of a live stream. So if he joins us after the college game, great. If he's got to go earlier, we'll do it earlier. But look for that tomorrow on the channel. Guys, anything you want to add on our way out the door here? Do you want to play a little Frank song on the way out? And then and Danny can show us his dogs and we can see little Ringo.
They're sleeping.
Yeah, don't judge. Ringo has one of those. I got him one of those Thunder shirts that are like the anxiety calming thing.
Oh, yeah, because I've used those.
Well, because it's like days like today, like my dad's.
It's people quality, Dan. It's not animal quality.
Like my dad's taking care of my grandma
Animal
right
grade.
now while they both have COVID. And then so I'm just home alone. It's like I'm gone all day. And this guy is
they getting
shook.
better? Your grandmother getting better?
Yeah, she's just like a little out of it. Like, using the telephone to try and turn on the TV and just like some post-COVID sort of, she needs some help. So
Playing Nick Jason's Larry Indy 95.7. The game hits this week. I don't believe so. I believe it's going to be a big Niner week. We'll be down in Santa Clara. We'll be doing a lot of live streams, bringing you Niner coverage throughout the week. But you never know. You never know.
Buster was actually kind of doing a little commercial spot for Pasquale today in his Niner uniform. Rye's got to show that maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe later.
Can we go Frank's song and play it out?
Yes.
Here we go. Our buddy Frank Red is part of our channel, and he's a freestyle rapper. This is his new collaboration, and it's a really cool song. Check Frank out.
I must say, just people are dogging on me a little bit about like, come on, just give him exercise, discipline. It's not that. I take him on tons of W's, I have to say. But you
can't even say walk.
No, because then I'll get too excited. But
exactly, yeah.
If I'm gone, like it's like first thing in the morning, we're pre-taping the thing, then we're getting down to the Niner game, doing all of that stuff. Then I'm like, I have to stay like half hour later than Lair, just to like upload stuff, send stuff out. And then the drive back, it's like I got home just in time to watch the end of take him out for a second, watch the end of the Packers game, and then hop on here. And I was still a little bit late. So it's just, it's just these days, man.
Yeah, these are long days for sure. But I'm going to watch a little bit of the game, crash, watch a little bit more in the morning. 9 a.m. conference call. Don't forget, Rye. Here we go. Little Frank Red on our way out, and then Danny's dog. Buster, and then Rise Dogs Ringo. Have a great night, everybody. Check us out all week as we make our climb towards 20,000 subs.
20,000. 20,000.
You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man. I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. Life is but a thrill. He had no time for small talk. He didn't mince words, just summed the lyrics to the best song he ever heard. All his hopes and dreams had turned to despair. But what he was facing, there was no way to prepare. This came from a man who thought his life was ending. In his mind, it was serious. There was no pretending. He checked the clock on the wall before he said his goodbyes. He many tears he has gone. See back into his eyes. He was old in life. There'll be no encore. He raised his hands to the heavens, put his knees on the floor. Don't have to be a genius to know he'd been blessed. He said he'd pay it forward and always do his best. At that moment, what he's been searching for became clear. He was here to serve those who living in fear. With his newfound enlightenment and the wind at his back, he's prepared to live out his life's final act. He was a rich man.
Leave it, buddy.
He had purpose in life, and to capture this feeling, you don't pay a price. Before we set up on his own, he made a pledge to get some wins and live his life against the grain to the bitter end. You miss a shot at life. You think there's nothing else for you to do. This ain't a tragedy, son. I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man. I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you